Since I posted the double overhead fuzzy video to Twitter, I've seen an influx of people tweeting about how it's reactable, and seeing people reply with that it's unreactable. I thought this would make for an interesting topic for a video, while answering the question of whether or not the double overhead fuzzy is reactable. So, what is reactable in Dragon Ball FighterZ? And more importantly, how much of an impact do reaction times have on your performance? The answer is a little bit nuanced. The thing is about reaction speeds is that they don't necessarily govern whether or not you can quote-unquote react to something. Ask yourself, do you need to react to something you know is already coming? Kind of like when you fight a Dark Souls boss for the 10th time this week. Do you need to react to Gwen's jump attack at the start? Obviously not, because you already know it's coming. But damn, is it hard to react to the first time, and even less so to react with parry. The thing about quote-unquote reacting to something is whether or not you're ready for what comes next. That's why I don't like reaction speed tests, because they're set up for you to just be ready for the big green light to flash on the screen. You're already ready, because you know there's nothing else to it. So it's harder to translate your amazing 170 millisecond reaction speed into a fighting game like Dragon Ball, where you have so much more to worry about when you're being pressured. If it's your first time seeing a Dragon Rush, I can say without a doubt, no one in here teched it the first time they saw it, unless they were mashing, of course. I'm willing to bet even further some of you higher level players still get hit by it all the time. It's not that you just didn't react, it's that you weren't ready for it to come out so suddenly, much less understood the mechanics of teching a Dragon Rush in the first place. Let's go over some numbers about reaction speeds to see what is and isn't reactable. We play almost all of our fighting games at 60 frames per second. 1 second divided by 60 is 16.67 milliseconds. So 1 frame is the equivalent to 16.67 milliseconds. Next question is, what is the human reaction speed in frames? The average human reaction speed, according to Human Benchmarks' data collected, is 215 milliseconds. 16.67 milliseconds, aka 1 frame, times 13 is 216.71 milliseconds. So now we know anything below 13 is unreactable, right? There's more to it than just that. Obviously, we're not in a world where there's zero input lag on anything we do. Even Human Benchmark goes into stating that monitors add 10 to 50 milliseconds, even some TVs add as much as 150 milliseconds of input lag. To give you an idea of those numbers in frames, 10 to 50 milliseconds is around a 1 to 3 frame increase, while 150 milliseconds is a whole 9 frames increase. Not to mention the hardware you're running the game on. People report that the PS4 usually adds a 2 to 3 frame increase. It doesn't stop there. Most controllers add another frame on top of that, not even including any converters. Here's a chart by Rocket Science showing the delay on different controllers. Note that if you add a converter, those things add another 1 to 2 frames on top of that. Also, fun fact to know is that DualShock 4 wireless has less input lag than wired. Assuming we're on a PS4 with a 1 millisecond monitor, we have a 3 frame increase to our reactions, which increases it from 13 to 16 frames. There's even more factors that can play into increasing your input lag to exorbitant levels. Like most fighting games, absolutely horrendous netcode, which can add another 2 to 3 frames alone. Or if your game drops to 59 frames, which can add another frame. Some things to know. 2 frames on PS4 is the same as 4 frames on PC. 2 frames on PS4 or 4 frames on PC is where I suggest you draw the line on what kind of lag is tolerable. 4 frames is where things like 6M and Dragon Rush become very hard to react to. Any higher and it's literally unreactable. Okay, now that we know anything above 16 frames is quote-unquote reactable, let's assume that Goichi has a 170 millisecond reaction time, which makes his reactions drop from 16 to 13 frames. Now let's look at some of the things that Goichi gets opened up by. Broly Light Grab, which is 17 frames, or sometimes Dragon Rush, which is 19 to 21 frames, or even Base Goku Light Grab, which is 20 frames. So why is it that Goichi can react to this, but not this?
How about to the knees?
The answer is something called Mentos stack. Mentos stack is a term coined by Kei and Nasaki to describe the processes our brain goes through to get to a decision about what stimulus our brain receives. When you're being pressured by Base Goku staggers, you have a lot to worry about when he's doing things like 4L, 4L, 2M, 5S, of which can be chained into his light grab. If you try to preemptively jump his grab, you could very well lose your character for it, seeing as base Goku has absurdly high damage. This increases your mental stack when defending against base Goku, making it harder to quote-unquote just react. Goichi doesn't train very often, if at all, with base Goku players, whereas every character in the game has a Dragon Rush, so he's more adept at knowing which situations he can and cannot be Dragon Rushed, reducing his mental stack. Reducing your mental stack comes with just playing the game and being put in those hard to react situations a lot. That's part of the reason why Goichi's defense seems unbreakable. He's just played the most out of any player out there. I might cover more about mental stack in the future. If you'd like to learn more, click the link in the description for the original article about mental stack, written by Keion Masaki. So, we circle around to the first question, which is, what is reactable in DBFZ? With the information we know now, it's whatever you're ready for, so long as it's around 16 to 17 frames or higher. How much of an impact do reaction times have on your performance? Not much. At least not much in the long term. The final question we will answer is the double overhead fuzzy reactable? I've done frame by frame slideshows and concluded that the IDJL takes about 19 to 20 frames to hit them after you hit the ground. But that does not mean it's reactable just because it's 19 frames. If you subtract the 4 frames of jump startup, of which you cannot see, then it actually rounds up to be 15 to 16 frames. If someone does the setup to you, and you hone your focus towards if they're gonna do it, then maybe I can see it being reactable. But if it's going by the rule that everything below 17 frames is unreactable, then this definitely isn't reactable. That sums it up for this video. I would really like to hear your thoughts about reactions in the comment section below, because I feel like this isn't discussed very often. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.